the chat or use the question and answer feature. That way we can get to your question. If you're not talking, please be on mute. If you do have a question, you can use the raise hand feature as well if you want to actually ask your question out versus typing it out. But if you feel more comfortable typing it, that's fine as well. This is going to last for about 1 hour. And I would like to use the opportunity to introduce Tunji Akimbade, who is a master principal architect at Oracle. Tunji has several years, more than 20 years of experience working in tech space in different types of positions and leadership positions across the world, I should say. So he has worked both in Nigeria, now in North America, all across Africa, Europe, Middle East, Africa. He's really well accomplished in the area of cloud computing, analytics, and general architecture of solutions. And it's a privilege to have him here. So thank you so much, Tunji, for offering up your time today and sharing, a few things about data analytics, as well as going through a demonstration of data analytics itself. So this is going to be an info-packed session, and I'm really excited to get it underway. I'm excited to see what Tunji has for us. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Tunji to take over. Tunji?
Yeah, thanks, Hugo. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll dive straight into it. Thanks for the introduction. I'll go into the sort of agenda. I mean, you sent out the invite, and there are 3 key areas we want to look at today. The first one is, have a quick discussion around the future of work and how data is playing a big part in that. Then obviously, it's to talk about how to join the data revolution, because it looks like that's the way forward. And most importantly, I'm going to show you a quick live demonstration of one of the analytics platform. In this case, it will be Oracle Analytics. Just to give you an idea of how people are leveraging data to get insights and obviously to make business decisions. So I'll go through a quick presentation. I want to spend a little bit more time on the demo side, so at least you can have a feel of what that looks like. Okay, so what is the future of work? And we all know, if there's one thing that has sort of transformed the way we work, we obviously know that is COVID-19. I mean, 2 years ago, nobody would have thought that a lot of people will be working from home, that HR will be cool with that. But we are here today, and this is one factor that has helped digital transformation. It is actually COVID-19. So one of the things that I say, it's really going to change in terms of how we work in the future. And it's very obvious because we are doing that. We've done this for almost 2 years now in terms of remote work. So now it's okay for people to work from home. But the question I always ask is, what does that mean? I mean, in terms of data analytics, in terms of even work generally, what does that mean? So one of the things that I say in terms of remote work is, now we are going to get a democratization of opportunities. What do I mean by that? So what that means is that now you can sit in Nigeria and actually be working for an organization in North America, for example. And I think this is really, really, really amazing in terms of things that are going to happen. But also the flip side is the case. It's also possible for me to sit in North Africa, in North America, for example, and also be, working for an organization in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, it's going to be a game of skills. Who's got the right skill set? And I'm not talking about, getting maybe a university degree or something. It's really about the skills needed to get the job done. So what we'll typically see is, as we move forward, I feel that employers may start to replace some full-time employees with what we call gig workers or contingent workers as a cost saving. Because if you think about it, if I'm sitting here in in Ottawa, for example, and then I've got a job in Nigeria as a side gig, they don't really need to care about, in terms of providing me what they provide full-time employees, maybe in terms of health package, in terms of all of those things. It might actually cost them less to do that. So as we move into the future, this is what I think is going to happen from an employer point of view. They will seek new skills and potentially in new locations. What typically happens before now is there's a job in Lagos, Nigeria, and then you send the job details out, and we are looking at people based in Nigeria and stuff like that. All of this is going to change because now those barriers are breaking down. So I can have an employer. I just need to fill a role. I put the role details in there, and I don't really care where the skill set is coming from. So you will see it's going to be a great change as we move to the future. And one thing that I say is this change will be driven by data. So what we'll typically see is we'll see that organization will start collecting additional data sets. So for example, if you are working remotely, I want to be sure that you're actually doing the work. I want you to sort of log in and log out of the system. I want to be able to track that. I want to see what you're doing. So all of these things will lead to additional data being collected. And I think this also ties to the conversation we are having today. So for me, this is the future of work. We should all brace up for this. And then, for me, it's really how do I leverage this? I mean, the beauty is everything is now democratized and you can work from anywhere. Okay. So, we typically say data is the new oil. This is a gentleman that said, no, data is the new soil. I think it is that important. If you look everywhere, data is being generated all through, COVID period. We all moved to, things like, Zoom, we sort of doing all of those online collaboration. And you see, every time we visit a website or use a Google map or we subscribe to anything, we are generating data. So if you think about it, in terms of data that we create every second, I mean, it's said that in 2020, each individual generated an average of 1.7 megabytes. And if you think in terms of that, in terms of the volume of data we produce every day as humans, it's really mind blowing. I mean, people say it's 2.5 quintillion, which is like 18 zeros behind those bytes. So it's a lot of data out there. But I think, that also creates a problem because if you've got more data, then the question is data really that useful? And I will argue that no, it's really what you do with data that matters. And that leads us to having a conversation around, okay, so if the future is about data, if the future is going to be remote, can we have a quick look at the jobs that are in demand? And this is pulled from, the future of jobs from WEF. And if you look at the first, like 3-4 jobs that are in demand, number one on top of that list is data analyst and scientist. And the question is why? Okay, you can see data analyst and scientist, AI and machine learning specialist. All of these things has to do with data and making sense of data. Okay, so if you look at the jobs in demand, and this is where I will go in terms of tracking, how should I prepare for the future? If I know the future is going to be democratized in terms of work, if I know that it's all about data, then I need to really, look for what are those jobs that are in demand, and data analyst is on top of that. And the reason for that is very clear, because organizations expect that they take the raw data that they generate and draw out meaningful insight to drive smart business decisions. So for organizations, it's really about, okay, so I've got this asset, I've got this data, I collect more and more data. The question is, how can I leverage this data to make smart business decisions? And if you are able to do that, if you have the skill set to be able to provide any organization with meaningful insights that will allow them to drive business decisions, you are going to be well paid for that. And I think that's the whole concept of data analytics. It's the ability of taking that data and transforming that data into information, transforming information into insight, and using that insight to drive business. Okay, it's as simple as that, and that's why I think this is the job of the future for anybody in the analytics space. Okay, so the question that I also get is, okay, now, yeah, it's a data world out there. How can I join the data revolution? And people have said a lot of things. Oh, you need to know how to write Python scripts. You need to know how to code and stuff like that. But I will say, you can play in different space when it comes to data. So obviously, you can be a business analyst, and typically, a business analyst is closer to the business. What happens is it takes analysis from maybe a data analyst, and then use that information to identify problems and propose solutions. So the business analyst is closer to the business. It talks business. You can play in that space. You can also decide to be a data analyst, which we are talking about today. And part of your job role will be, how can I take the data that exists within the enterprise, clean that data, transform that data. Let me see if I can interpret patterns and, identify patterns and trends in that data, and obviously do a lot of reporting and analytics to support the business. Okay. You also have the data engineer. So the data engineer is more from an infrastructure architectural point of view. How can I build infrastructure to support data generation? If people are going to try and clean data, extract data from different sources, transform it and load it, maybe that's the kind of space where the data engineer can sort of help, and you can help make raw data more useful to the enterprise. And once you are done, you can sort of pass that sort of clean data to the data analyst, and then the data analyst can do the transformation. You can pass the result to a business analyst who understands business more, and the business analyst can have a conversation with the business. Then you can be a data scientist. So the data scientist is more dealing about things that are going to happen in the future. So for example, can I model things? Can I model my data such that I'm able to predict what is going to happen in the future? And most of the time, this is based on advanced mathematics, statistical analysis, or generated data. This is the space where you definitely need all your Python codes. You need all the things that you need to, develop algorithms to help you do that. And I put a database administrator because that's my background. I used to be an Oracle database administrator. And it's the custodian of the data within the organization in terms of how do we ensure that this data is safe? How do we ensure that it is available? How do we ensure that people can have access to the data when they need it? Because without that, you won't be able to do any analysis. So you can play in any space, and that's the beauty of the data revolution. Just ensure that you are in one of these areas. Okay. Now, if you talk about the data analyst, which we are sort of focused on in this conversation, like I said, the job of a data analyst is very simple. How do I find insights? How do I help businesses find insight and uncover the hidden values in the load of data through storytelling? So this is one of the key requirements when you're in the data analytics space, is the ability to tell stories with data. And when we talk about stories, I mean, they are key, they are like 4 areas where you sort of want to tell that story. So the first one, we call it descriptive analytics. It's basically saying, what happened based on historical data. What happened? But, the business needs more than that. Okay, we know what happened, but the question is, can you sort of find out why did that happen? And that's what we call diagnostic analytics, where you sort of find out why did it happen based on trends, based on anomalies, based on patterns. And the business will also say, listen, okay, so we know why it happened. The question is that likely to happen again, or what will likely happen in the future? So you need to sort of not just do what has happened in the past, why it happened, They also want to find out what will likely happen in the future. So, for example, if the price of oil goes up, what will that mean to my business? You should be able to predict, uh, based on data, obviously. And finally, the most important part of data analytics is the prescriptive analytics. Because at the end of the day, the business needs to take an action. Which direction should we go? Should we invest now? Should we stop now? And this is one of the things, for me, that's the most important part of data, you know, as a data analyst. Okay. I just wanted to show you the slide so at least you can have an idea of what the average salary is, across all of these data opportunities that you have. So if somebody is working as a data scientist, you are likely looking at an average, and that's the keyword, an average of 96,000. This is actually in US dollars. And if you look at the total pay, it can be somewhere between 66,000 to $145,000 on a monthly basis. This is based on data that was generated April 7, 2021. So it's kind of recent. If you work as a data analyst, you are looking at between 40K to 80K in Canadian dollars. Same for a data engineer. I think the point is, this is a space where you can actually earn, a good salary, and it's future proof, because this is where everybody's sort of moving towards in terms of jobs. Okay. And maybe the next question will be, okay, now I understand where we are. We know the future is remote. We know it's data. We know for organizations are looking for people who can transform that data into insights and make business decisions. But what are the key analytics skills that you need? And this is where I say to people, listen, anybody can play in this space, because if you've got a problem solving skill, this is one of the critical skills that you need as an analyst, is the ability to think through a problem and look at solutions, because basically that's what you are going to be doing with data. Look at the problem, see how you can solve that. And obviously that will involve critical thinking, just thinking critically about, what ways can I sort of slice and dice this data to present that information. The third one, obviously, is visualization. You need to be able to tell the story in visual, because remember, most of the executives they are talking to, all they want to do is the final result. Please tell me what's happening with my business, and then show that in a visual way, so it can make sense to me, and then I'll be able to leverage that. The fourth one, obviously, is SQL. So that's the language of databases, structured query language. So for most of the databases, you need structured query language to sort of take information out of the system. So that's a critical skill set. And if you want to be maybe a data scientist, or you just want to be an advanced data analytics user, then you can decide to learn Python, maybe R, so that you can sort of build some of these models that you need. Okay. Just want to make sure that we're in good time. Okay, so I'll show you a quick demonstration. While I prepare for that demonstration, please, if you have any quick question, maybe you want to coordinate that while I switch to the other screen to show the presentation.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Tunji. So if you have any questions, like I said earlier on, please put them in the chat. If you want to ask with audio, you can raise your hand using the raise hand feature that is, on your Google Meet. So please feel free to put your questions in there and take them. Thank you. Seems like we don't have any questions, so
Okay. Just want to make sure that. Okay. This might be time. I need to bring that. Yeah. Can you see my screen, Google? I hope
Yes.
it's not too tight. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I can see
Okay.
your screen. Yeah.
Okay. So again, this is like I said, just to show you a quick demonstration. And the demonstration, I'll pull the data set in so I can give you an example, the background or the foundation to the problem we're trying to solve. But this is how a typical, analytics platform look like. In this case, this is Oracle Analytics. The page, very simple. I've got all my dashboards, all my projects, all my data set, all my machine learning algorithms, all showing on one simple canvas. Right. So in this case, I'll show you a data set I want to bring in and explain that to you. So all I need to do is come here, create a new data set. And when I do that, you can see I've got different options in terms of the connection. But for now, let me bring in one Excel document. And what that shows is, if I open that up real quick for you guys. Okay, so can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. So this is a data set. It's a download of data analyst jobs from one of these websites. And one of the things here is, it's very, and this is what we talked about. So let's imagine that we've got somebody that is maybe a data scientist. He's sort of written some Python script to extract data from a job website. He has sort of given me as a data analyst in Excel document. And what I want to find out in this case is, listen, if I'm looking for a job and I have this data from this website, the question is, which of these opportunities should I actually go for? And I think that's a valid question, right? In terms of, if you are looking for a job, you're not going to send your CV to like, I think this is like, it's about 1,000 or maybe 2,000 job opportunities. You want to be able to say, listen, okay, where should I be heading to? And this goes back to telling a story with data. You can, there's no right or wrong way, but you can spin it in different directions. But what I have in this data set, obviously, I've got the job title, I have the salary estimate. Yeah, I have the rating, which shows, how the organization is being rated. I've got the company name, the location, the size of the company, the year it was founded. You can see some of this we need to fix because this doesn't look like a year. Type of ownership, the industry, the sector, the revenue, and then competitors. Obviously, -1 means the competitor is unknown. So the first, excuse me. So the first thing you do as an analyst is obviously to look at this data set and see if you can clean it. Okay. So if I come in here, let's give it a new name, demo data analyst. And then I'm going to sort of add this. Yeah, now this is the most important part of the data analyst job, ensuring that this data you want to analyze is clean and is in the format that will provide the business with more information. So the first thing you'll see here is you can see the analytics platform already sort of, did like an initial analysis, and you can see the different job titles. You can see you've got lots around data analyst, senior data analyst, and stuff like that. You've got the salary estimates, the ratings, some of them you probably need to fix that, the company name, and so on and so forth. And then you've got recommendations here. So one of the things I want to do here is, if you look at the salary estimates, you can see that it's a range. And what I want to do from my analysis point of view is to say, listen, can I sort of calculate the average salary based on this? Um, and, and the way to do that is I can come in here, and when you see that information here, you can see what we call like recommendation. So for example, it says extract part one from salary estimate. So if I click on that, what that will do is it extracted the first part of this, and then I can go in there and then let me extract the part two. And why I'm doing this is I want to be able to separate the upper salary from the lower salary. Now, this one is still showing that it's an attribute and it's a text. What I really want is a number. So to do that, one of the things I can do is to come here and then say, you know what, let me replace that K. Yeah. If I put this one, and then I will replace that with 3 zeros, just to show you that that's 91,000. And then I'm going to add that step. Okay. So as I'm doing that, you can see on this side, it is sort of creating all the script that is being done behind the scenes. So now I have this one as 91 there, but it's still text. So let me convert that to number. And that will sort of give me, if that one is converted, I can see that would be number, and I can change that to a measure. Okay. And now you can see that is now in in the format it should be. So 91,000. So what I'll do is I'll rename this column instead of, I can call it upper salary. Upper salary. Okay. And all you need to do is to repeat the same thing for this one, just to clean it real quick. Right? Replace. And then that's done. That's the 3. I can add that step. That is fine. I can convert that to, let me convert that to a number. I can change that to a measure. All right, so that's sorted. So I have the upper salary. I have the, let me rename this one as the lower salary. Okay, but for better analysis, I think what will be helpful is to look at the average, because that gives me a more, a better way of doing the analysis. So I'm going to create a new column out of this, and I'm going to call it average salary. Okay. And what I want to do, if we still all remember average, I think it should be the lower salary plus the upper salary. And then let us divide that by 2. That should give us an idea of what average salary should be. And then I can add that to that. Okay. And I can make sure also that is measure. Okay. So now I've got the upper salary, lower salary, average salary. The salary estimate, I really don't need this again. So I can sort of hide it from the analysis. I have the company name. I also have the location. So what I want to do also is to sort of separate the location from the state. And how to do that is I can sort of just split this. And I'm going to split it into 2 parts so that you can see you can have the job location versus the state. Okay. So I'm going to delimit it by a comma, actually. Right. Good. So now I've got this 2. I can add that step, rename this, and then I can rename this as job location. And then I can come here and replace this as rename as the state. Okay, so you can see, and then what I can also do is I can convert this to a location details, which will sort of go inside the system. And then what it does is it looks at that state and automatically knows that I think this is a state in the United States. It matches that up. And then that allows you to do location-based analysis as you move forward. The size is fine. This one, I just need to convert it into an attribute. And let's see. Actually, I can convert this to a text. Or maybe actually I should convert it to a date. Okay, I've converted that to a date, so you know that that's a date, and then I add that step. Now, this, like I said, is the important part, maybe a bit boring. The other thing I want to do is this competitors -1. Let's sort of, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tunji. So somebody just asked a question about increasing the size of the screen a little bit. So I don't know if it's possible to just zoom in just slightly in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just did that.
Yeah. I think it looks better. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So the competition, let's just do a quick replace there. And what I want to do is to replace -1 with something more useful, then unknown, and then I can sort of add that step. Okay, so now what we have just done is like a mini cleaning of the data to get it ready for analysis. I can apply this script, and then automatically everything that I've sort of done here, it's been applied. Okay. Now the next thing is I can now create a project. Okay. Now this is what you see also from an analytics perspective. You can see all the details from that data set. It's a clean, canvas. The question we always ask is also analysis. Where do I really start this analysis? How do I go about it? Now, one of the things from, specifically to Oracle is leveraging artificial intelligence to sort of say, listen, even if I don't understand exactly what this data is saying, there's something that we call, so for example, if I come to the sector, there's something we call the explain. And what that does, if I click that, is it sort of goes into the data set and leverages machine learning, sort of make sense of the data itself to say, listen, even without you doing any analysis, let me explain, what I think that data is saying. So in this case, what I've just done is to say, listen, explain the sector so I can have an idea of which sectors I'm actually dealing with. So here you can see all the different sectors. Obviously, it looks like IT is like the biggest sector, followed by business services. So if you are interested in any of those things, just click on it and I will show you how that works. Okay, before we do that, actually, let me fix this real quick. If we go back to the data, sorry, let me just fix that real quick. Because it's summing up all the salaries, for example, and what I want to do actually is to come here and say, listen, the job estimate, all of this upper salary, instead of aggregating it by sum, I just want you to give me the average, because that reflects more of the analysis I want to do, instead of adding all the stuff together. Okay, so here we can do the average also, and I think with that we should be fine. So let's apply that. And then let's go back to our analysis. Okay, so I can go back to the sector and then say it should explain the sector. And now it should be able to pick that in terms of the sector. And then you can see now that you have the sector, you have the sort of upper salary, lower salary. So we can use the average salary to give us, now we can see that it looks like real estate is the place to be. Okay. And then based on rating, it looks like information technology companies. But that's the beauty of analytics. As you add more data, then you begin to do your analysis. So if you start from here, it looks like real estate is where you should be working or should be looking for jobs. And if you are looking in terms of the rating, this is an IT firm. Okay. You can also go to the key drivers. What this key driver is basically saying is actually leveraging a lot of machine learning to say, listen, if I think in terms of the sectors, these are the things that are mostly strongly correlated to the sector. In other words, these are the things that will drive that sector. So it could be because of the sector. You can see the size is a factor. So the size will, it's a driver. So we can sort of add that one. In terms of segments, this is another AI, but now we don't have anything in here now. But what that does is it looks at patterns. And also finally, there is what we call anomalies, which is basically saying, look, I've looked through the data. This is what I expect, but this is what the data is saying. So maybe as you do your analysis, you also want to sort of, be mindful of that. Okay. So once we do that, so we've chosen the ones that we want in terms of the revenue, we can add the selected, and then you will have your first visualization. Okay, so it's that simple. Now, what you've done is you've taken data from the Excel document, and then you've leveraged machine learning within the analytics platform to sort of get you started. So if you look at this data set, and you have options, right, in terms of the visualization. So if you don't like bar charts, you can decide to change that into a vertical bar chart or whatever options that you want. Okay, so if I look at this now, and then maybe, for example, I sort it by high to low, it is very clear that real estate is the place to work. So this is now me starting my analysis to say, okay, where should I send my CV? It looks like real estate is fine. And if I do this one also in terms of the rating, which is important to me, then this looks like I should be talking to an IT company. Okay. Should I make my final decision? Maybe not yet. Now let's look at something else. Let's look at what if I look at the distribution of the salaries across the different states? Okay, so you can see again, I just dropped the state here, and because the states are from the US, it automatically puts that map in there. And what I want to do is to, put my average salary and let it show the color. Aha. So now all of a sudden, I have a different, what's it called, analysis here. And the darker the shade, that means the more salary they are paying. So if you look here, it looks like here, the average salary is 101,000. Whereas if you come to somewhere like maybe California, it's like 85,000. So really, again, we started with, okay, maybe I should be in real estate. Now, you are now looking at, in terms of the distribution of the salary, like the states that are paying. But before you make your decision, maybe also you want to find out, what if I'm not just looking at the average salary. Let us look at the total number of jobs that are available for me in this region, because you don't want to go to a place where they are paying a high salary and you just have 3 jobs opening there. So one of the things I can do here, I can do a quick calculation to count the total number of jobs. So if I say total number of jobs available, and that's just simply a count. So I can count, let's say, let me even count the maybe job title, for example, because each one is a row. I can validate that, and then I can save that. Okay, so here, if I drag the total number of jobs here, it looks like there are 3,898 jobs total. But what I want to do is I want to break that down in terms of the different states. So if I come here and then I put another layer on this map, and this time I want that layer to look at the state, obviously. But this time I want to look at the total number of jobs available. Okay. Yeah, but then I want to make this one just a point. So in this case, I will have two. So now I have two different information displayed. Actually, let me also do this so that I can see very quickly in terms of the size of jobs provided. So now all of a sudden this changes my analysis. Now, if you look at where they are paying 1,000 and 101,000 average, it looks like there are just 31 jobs available. Versus if I come to maybe a California where it's 85,000 and then they have 699 jobs. So in terms of me thinking about where I should go, maybe I should be thinking more in terms of California, right? Because they've got more jobs. The average salary is okay. And then, it's not that bad. And then, I'm not competing for 31 jobs. I'm competing for 699 jobs. I mean, if you look at the other guys where they are having, where the average salary is 92, there's only one job opportunity. Why would I want to stress myself sending my CV? So now I sort of know where I want to be in terms of my analytics, right? So the next thing I want to do is obviously maybe let me get more details in terms of the states, the average salary, maybe also the total number of jobs. So I can also see it in a different way here. Okay. But this time I want to sort of see that as a table. Right. State average salary. Oops. I'll just move that up real quick. And mindful of time, but just to show you, yeah. Okay, so I've got that. I have an idea, and then I can sort that maybe by the total number of jobs. So obviously, this is the place to be. Texas looks really good. New York also. So if you think about it, I've got like 3 different places where maybe I should be looking for jobs: California, Texas, and New York. So I can continue my analysis and to say, listen, okay, now that I understand that, let me see the sectors where I should be working. So if I come in here and I take the sector, in terms of the sector, and I take the average salary and the state, for example, if I draw that here, actually, let's look at the table, which shows that real good. Okay, right. So if you look at the sector, it looks to me like all of a sudden accounting and legal appears to be that place where they are having. So even if I remove the state here, you can immediately see what is happening here in terms of the average salary, high to low. So it's still real estate. But remember, when we were here, we looked at 3 states that looks like where we want to go, because that's where you have the most jobs and the average salary is better. So what I want to do here is just, I want to filter things just by those 2 states or 3 states. Okay. So if I put a list box here and then I come back here and say, you know what, I'll put the state here, but I don't want all the states. I just want California. I think it was New York and Texas, right? New York and Texas. Okay, now look at what has happened. So my analysis all this time says I should be looking at real estate. But in the real sense, when I sort of drill down that information, and then now I can see that if I'm looking for jobs in California, New York, or Texas, then actually I should be looking at maybe arts and entertainment, real estate, biotech, and pharmaceuticals. Okay. But But then I can do further analysis to say, okay, now that I know the sector, okay, should I be thinking about, in terms of the industry? So here again, I can come here, and instead of that, I can look at the industry. I can look at the average salary for the industry, and I can drag that here. That also gives me an idea of what's happening. I can sort that by high to low. So again, within the space, I know the sector. I sort of have an idea of where also I should be working. But in this case, I want to also restrict things to just the sector. So this is how you sort of do your analysis, and you can take a decision. And because of time, I mean, we can go on and break this on and say, listen, okay, now that I've found this, so for example, I can say, you know what, let me even see the details about those organizations. So in this case, if I look at this, I can now decide to say, listen, let me even look at the details. No, actually, I can do it here. Look at the details of the company, the job title. I already have the average salary in the States. Yes, please.
So there's a request that the characters are a little bit small, if you don't mind zooming a little bit in.
Okay, I'll do that again.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Again, okay. I mean, because of the number of things going on the screen, typically these screens.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
And if you're using a phone, I can imagine. But they're typically, if you want to maybe go watch it back with a computer or something like that, then you probably will be able to see it much better. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry about that. I'll increase that just now. Just give me. Okay. Yeah. So again, you can see now. Let me just expand that. I hope you can see that now. It's much better. Now you can see the details here. So I sort of have an idea that it's California, but then when I begin to break down the number of companies actually, putting a job out there, I can see this same company, for example, the role in California is 99,000, where the role in New York is 85. And then if I want to go to Texas, it will be 38. So now what I've just done is I've gone from where I have like over 1,000 jobs to now restricting it to just the number of jobs that I think I'll be able to do. So in terms of my story, obviously I will be going to California. I think there's a song, one of those rappers like, yeah, I'm going to Cali. So it looks like my next job will be in California, because if I look at the data set from where I started from, I can see that, that's the place where you've got lots of opportunities and the average salary looks really good. And this is how you sort of take data, what looks like a simple Excel document with just maybe 8 or 9 columns. Now you are creating a story. And once you are done with that story, there's this narrate, and I know because of time, I'll just do this in 1 minute. And basically what you are doing now is this is where you share your story. I can take all the details, put it in here. Okay. And then once you have that, what you want to do is I can decide to share this across, whether it's Slack or Twitter. I can share that with my colleagues, and they can make comments, or maybe I want to send this to someone else. We can do that. But again, what I just wanted to show you real quick is, in summary, in terms of where we started from, is to say, listen, the future is data analytics. Anybody can play in that space. So if I go back to that, to the presentation, if you can do that, and then I can present that. So I've shown you the demo. So in terms of what next, it should be, if you are interested in data analytics, so much to do. It's an amazing field. You add value to the organization. You are recognized by people at the top. And then it's really, when you can make sense of data, it is magic. It is beautiful. Anybody can play in this space. It's future proof. If you are looking for, whether you want to change a career, or you are looking for what job should I be looking at, which is sort of future proof as we move into the space of machine learning and AI. I think data analytics is the space to go. So because of time, I'll stop here. If we have questions, I'll be happy to answer those questions.
Thank you so much, Tunji. Thank you. That was awesome, and it was pretty great to see the data in action and how you broke it down. And this, I mean, when you think about this, think about how this sort of translates to different walks of life, whether it is in your day-to-day work, whether it's even in your own business. For those of you who have your own businesses, how you can use tools like this to generate insights that allow you to actually do amazing things in your business, get the data that you need to make the right decisions. So this is awesome. And thank you so much, Tunji, for taking the time. I know you're a very, very busy person, so thank you for doing this for all of us. So if you have any question, yes, I think I see that people are beginning to ask some questions. So real estate arena, yeah, please go ahead and ask the question. I think you may have one or two things to say about how lucrative the real estate sector is. So yeah, please go ahead, real estate arena.
Oh, okay. So, thank you so much. I just wanted to ask. I joined the meeting a bit late, so I only joined like 10. I was able to join like 10 minutes ago. So, like, I just want to know, like, was it like you imported data, or this is off off the cloud, or this data was already on the app that you're using, and what platform are you using to teach?
Okay, so good question. So this data is, someone had already extracted the data from a job site, and that was done. Yeah. So again, if you you said you joined late. So there's this slide that I showed in terms of the different areas of analytics. So think about it that somebody in this space has sort of written like maybe a Python script to extract that data from the website and sort of push that into a CSV file. And I, as the data analyst, have taken that file, maybe because I don't have the skill set to sort of extract this, but I've taken that file, I've sort of cleaned it further. And what I did was now to interpret that data, look at the patterns, look at the trends, okay, and then I made my own, decision. At the end of the day, I want to be able to make a decision. The demo I showed you, I need to decide which organizations should I be applying to, and I've leveraged analytics to do that. Filter it from, 2,000 jobs in different states in the US to just listen. I think I'm going to California because this is where the opportunities are. The average salary is fine. But again, in real life, what you want to do now is now to say, listen, if I have this data set, what if I have another data set about the cost of living? I want to map that to this data set and see what's there. So maybe even California is not the place to be, By
the time you consider
absolutely the cost of living and things like that. So that's the beauty of data analytics. You can go on and on. The more data you have, the more insight you get.
But I want to ask one more question.
Okay, go ahead, please.
What's the difference between a data analyst that uses data the way you just sliced and diced it to get information, and a business analyst? And what's the job in the labor market, the labor climate? What's the job roles like in terms of salary and how easy it is to get into the space?
Yeah, so I did show something, pulled out something in terms of salaries. So if you're a business analyst, again, everything that has to do with business, I think he has a bit more credibility because you'll be engaging with C-level people. So if you think in terms of business analysts in this context of data analysis, these are the kind of people that will take exactly what I have done. They will repackage it into a nice presentation, and then it will be the one saying, listen, it's not that maybe we need to go to California. We are going to California to invest because this is what the analysis says. This is what it means. This is how much we are going to save. That kind of person most of the time, technical people will need to learn that skill. We are just, okay, I've generated the data, it's fine, this is it, go and deal with it. The business analyst will take that and then sort of speak the language of the business. So you can see the salary is a bit more than the data analyst who is actually doing the data analyst job. And what I typically tell people is learn that skill also. It can be as simple as presentation skills, communication skills, for you to be able to deliver that level.
Okay, but the data science is a bit more than that.
Yes, data science will be the guy that is probably extracting that data from the different sites, writing Python script, doing predictive analysis, what's the future going to look like, building models, leveraging AI and machine learning algorithms. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why I paid even more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you said after the program, you were able to book a free consultation to talk about which of the roles to fit in better. I think so that I don't crowd this meeting with my own personal talks.
Yeah,
So,
maybe you want to take that?
Yeah, absolutely. So real estate, you can go to apara.io and you will see our, getting started or booking a free consultation. So if you go directly, and maybe we can share the screen. I don't know if you're able to, just to show, you go to apara.io, you hit the free consultation and you should be able to, book that in. So I'll encourage everyone to actually do it. Because that way we can answer your questions on a personal level and we can analyze where you are right now in your search. We can understand where you are, what you're trying to achieve, and then give you the right type of advice based on that. So yeah, you just go to apara.io, hit the get started button, and that should pop up our scheduling tool for you to schedule a consultation.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for the questions. I think Raymond Forma, sorry for butchering your name a little bit, has a question, and I think it's very, very similar to the question that Real Estate Arena asked, which is how much does the skill set required to be a business analyst and data analyst differ from each other? So I think that may have been answered in the last one, but I don't know, Tunji, if you have anything additional to add to that.
Yeah, I think we've pretty much answered that. I mean, so like I said, anybody, once you've got critical thinking skills, you can actually play part in that data space. I always say start with the data analytics because that allows you to sort of understand the foundation for launching out and testing if this is something that you probably want to do moving forward.
Yeah, I completely agree. And a business analyst that doesn't understand data is most likely not going to succeed. So very important that even if you're pursuing that business analyst route, that you understand how data works, because that is what you're going to use to propose solutions and stuff like that. Okay. All right, we have another question from Olajibe Olaye, and he says, about the analytics tool platform used here, how can we get such a tool?
Oh, okay. So the tool I use is called Oracle Analytics Cloud. If you go to cloud.oracle.com, you should be able to get a free $300 sort of free access to the platform. But again, when you have conversation with Afara, you can be provided with more information. But this is using Oracle Analytics Cloud.
Okay, I think we have a few raised hands and a question also from Adetola John Okui. What does Afara mean? Anyway, I can take this one as well. Just Afara is a learning platform for facilitators who are in the industry. So, Tunji, myself, other people who are in the industry who are working on these different technologies on a day-to-day to provide that platform to teach people using project-based learning. We focus on learning by doing. So we have a number of courses on the platform, including data analytics, data science, and other course areas where we help you understand. We build up that first project for you, get you a project portfolio going, making sure that you have all the skill sets, you understand the best practices involved in these areas so that you launch a great career. So we will serve as that guide to make sure that you're successful in your journey, both for people who are transitioning to tech or people who are looking to grow their careers in tech already. So that's basically what our career is all about. Thanks for that question. Okay, so I'll just open up the queue again. I see real estate. Is that from your previous raised hand, or do you have a new question? I don't know if you do. Okay.
Oh, sorry. That was from before.
Okay.
I do have a lot of questions, but like I said, I would probably prefer talking to you in person. Maybe you or TG after the. I don't know who I was speaking with. I already booked the consultation on the website for tomorrow.
Great. We'll make sure that somebody is there to talk to you for sure.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. If there are any other questions, we'd like to take them. I think Lawal, Abiodun Lawal, you had raised your hand earlier on. Do you have any questions or? No? Okay. Also, feel free to type the questions in the chats if you.
Okay.
If you don't come up. Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, I keep calling you.
Someone...
Yeah, sorry, I keep calling you real estate Arena. What is your name? Sorry.
Bolaji. My name is Bolaji.
Okay, Bolaji, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So for someone like myself, I'm in the, how do I put it? I'm in the state of transitioning fully into the IT space. I'm about to round up my master's in enterprise system management. So I do understand the importance of this course, but I'm trying to understand which one fits best in the role of being in the business space, applying the data aspect. Is it learning? Is it the data science aspect? How does data science relate to being in the enterprise system role, like the BA role?
Okay, Sanjay, are you taking that one?
No, you can go ahead. Yeah, that's super.
Okay, so so if I remember, Balaji, if I recall what your question is, you're saying which of the areas should you focus on based on your background in enterprise system management? Well, I think I think all of these different areas are interconnected. I would say that starting off with data analytics is a foundational element of that journey. We want more people to go as far as becoming data scientists, because ultimately that will be rewarding for you as you grow in your career. But the good place to start is data analytics, understanding how to manipulate data sets, how to clean data sets, how to visualize them, how to use machine learning from these different packages. And once you're done with that aspect, the next progression would be to do a data science, to now start looking into data science. How can you use programming tools to do those things? I think if you kind of skip that foundation, it might become a little bit difficult for you to grasp some of those things, because even some of the things you're doing in data science is stuff that you're doing declaratively as an analyst, but you're now trying to use code to do that at the next level. So I think a good starting point is data analysis, and then you sort of build on more skill set as you go along. It's a journey, right? It's not like you just want to pick one and then that's it. You want to build on top of it as you move along.
Okay? Yeah, as they are all related. So it's just, I get you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. We have a question. We have a few people in the queue who have raised their hands. I think Abiodun Lawal is there right now. So Abiodun, please go ahead with your question.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello, good evening. Yeah. I'm actually interested in the business analysis of the whole presentation. But at the moment, I would say I just have minimum knowledge about computer and the rest. So I actually studied economics and I've worked in a bank for more than a century where the most things I use are Excel. But I'm thinking of diversing to another area. What are the major things that I need and skills that will be very useful for me in this new environment?
Right. So, I mean, so two things you've said. You already use Excel. Excel, by the way, is a fantastic tool. I mean, if you know how to use Excel, you can do a lot of analysis on Excel. So you already have, to be honest, you already have what it takes. You know, you work in a bank. So obviously you know how to use a computer. I mean, critical thinking, like I said, communication skills. The only difference here is if you are, starting with the data analytics, you're actually learning the tool and, some of the things that you probably, just makes it easier for you to do things more than you do in Excel, and the ability to get data from different sources and analyze it. Okay, so to be honest, I think you've got the basics that you need to be able to be part of that journey. Now you need to take that a little step further to say, listen, let me see some of those tools. Let me see if I'm taking data from another source which is not Excel, and see I can mash up the data to make information. So you already have the basic skills, and this is why I say people should not be scared of trying things out.
All right, and Abiodun, just to add to that, please, if you want more information from us, if you want to chat, please go to apara.io, and we're definitely happy to do a full consultation so we can go through, what you're doing right now, and kind of help you, draw out what that journey would look like. Some of the ways you can start to think about it. So that's with several people from different industries. We worked with dentists, with lawyers.
I didn't get that because I actually stumbled on this on Instagram.
Yes, I said so. You can go to apara.io. I'm gonna post.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, I'm gonna post our website in the chat right now. So it's apara.io. Pretty straightforward. So just go there and get started. Schedule some time with us. Let's talk about your career and your journey. Yes, I can hear you. Okay. All right, Abiodun, please feel free to reach out to us on apara.io, or you can also send us an email, info@apara.io.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Because I stumbled on this thing on Instagram, but I really know much about it.
Yes. Yeah, no worries at all. We have one more question here from Aditola again. When will the classes begin? The classes for data analysis, I believe, is sometime in September, but maybe I think September.
Yeah, that should be the first week in September.
First Saturday of September.
First Saturday, of September.
Yeah, which is the 4th of September. Yeah, so that would be the very first classes of the week.
Yeah, and that will run for 4 Saturdays.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any other questions? I know we are a little bit, beyond the time that we anticipated. Yeah, and I want to make sure that everyone can go back to their lovely Sundays, in preparation for the week. But if you have any other questions, yes, we will share that, of course, via email. Once after this session is done, we'll share the details for the class and that is coming up for people who are interested to join in. As you saw, what Tunji went through, that would be exactly the things that you'll be learning. You'll be learning how to prepare data, how to clean it up, how to visualize it, how to apply machine learning. And those skills would allow you to get your first project portfolio, because our whole thing is to make sure you have a project portfolio at the end of this. So once you start with your first project, you can continue to add more projects as you go along. So thank you once more for joining the class. Tunji, do you have any final words before we close things up?
Well, I just want to say thank you all. Thank you for sharing your Sunday. It's been nice. Thank you for all the questions. and just reach out. If you need any help with data and analytics. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Tunji. We really appreciate it. And everyone, have a great rest of your Sunday. You will be hearing from us via email. We'll send the recording, and then we'll also communicate the start date for the classes. Do have a good one, guys. Cheers.